Okay, so this is a game I've played against Francis Bot, the 2300. Um, Played it a few weeks ago. I think it was one of the better games I've played. I do it kind of maybe as some exercising, so I can play a game where I can think for however long I want. I can take breaks and I can really calculate the position. I won't remember all the lines that I've calculated whilst playing the game, but I think the key moments I will remember. So I'm just gonna click forward like this and maybe later check with the engine. I mean, I've checked it already, but I'm just gonna explain my thought process. Okay, the opening I just played e4 knight c6. Yeah, I played this line where I just got c4, and here I just bring knight c3. I develop knight f3. I mean, I guess reasonable moves. I don't remember the all the reasoning behind that. And here I develop castles, and uh, the Francis just blocks the position with d6, and I challenge the bishop, even though it's going to double my pawns. Um, but it's a good bishop to get rid of. Takes, push h6, h3. I guess I didn't have much to add. I didn't want to commit to anything, so I just played h3. And bishop d7, b4. Yeah, so here I start expanding on the queen side with some ideas maybe. And okay, so the bot expands a5 and I go a6. Sorry, a3. And now takes, and queen a8. Now here, what I really want to do is keep this open line for myself. So if I just take on a8, that's kind of bad. The rook is gonna be able to dominate and come over here. There's no need to do that. But what's the other options? The other options is to I don't I don't care if the bot takes, because then I get the rook there and he can't challenge my rook. So in the meantime, what I want to do is basically queen b2 to support the rook a1 move. And the point of this is that my opponent doesn't have time to try to double himself, because I go rook f1, rook a1, and the queen needs to move away. Rook a8 is going to be too late. But there's a problem of going queen b2 immediately. This is what I calculated, because there's queen a7, and I can't play rook a1 because e3 hangs. So basically, I give my opponent a move to double up, because I'm going to need to defend. But I have time now, because I don't need to move away my queen. So therefore I played king f2. King f2 with idea. Of course, I also thought about some other ideas, like defending. I don't remember. I considered here two moves, either king f2, or was it... I don't remember what it was. Maybe some knight d2 and some lines, but yeah, I can't remember now. Obviously, king a2 to double up doesn't really help, because just takes, and the rook again comes in. So it doesn't really help us. So therefore, king f2 was chosen. And yeah, so this move I thought my opponent was going to play b6, because that gives room for the queen to move away. So if I go here, queen goes to b7, and then and then I bring in, he bring in, and it's just like a standoff on the a file. So I went queen b2, but here surprisingly, my opponent, the bot just blitzes out c5, and this couldn't be good. But I just continued with my plan. Rook a1, queen moves away, and here it's already kind of, I feel kind of optimistic already. And I blocked the center. There were some other lines here, but I just decided to go there. Queen c7, and I double up on the a file. Okay, king h7, I guess makes some sense, and I just go in because if my rook is going to come to the seventh rank, that's going to be kind of nice. He doesn't take, but then I force him to take because there's no way There's no way to defend now b6, and so takes, and he played knight e7, and already here I was calculating if I can win this pawn, and I made a huge mistake here. So I was, for some reason, I had a mind slip. So because the point is, you can. This is a position where you can absolutely win the pawn. You just go rook b7. There's no defense against the. There's no defense. Knight c8 is so ugly because it blocks the rook, but knight c8, knight a4, and you just win the pawn. There's no tricks, nothing. But I, for some reason, mind slipped that I thought that bishop c6 is an option because usually you have like a nice support for bishop with pawns. But here, it's not my bishop, it's my opponent's bishop, and it's not his pawns, it's my pawns. So I was calculating like for 15 minutes that the rook b7 doesn't really work because there's even a move like knight c6. I'm embarrassed by that, but knight c6. And the point is, if I take the pawn, my rook gets trapped with knight d7. I can't go anywhere. Same thing is you can go there, and if I pin again, knight here defends, and in that case maybe I can still run. But the point is, I thought that this doesn't really this means that I need to run away because I'm getting trapped, which is so false. Actually, this pawn is very winnable at the moment, but I thought it's not, and I didn't know what to do. I felt like these pieces are going to get in the game. I was considering g4, but then like g5, and I have nothing. So I went actually knight h2. The idea is to come in like here, and if there's trades, then these pieces are not active, and these pieces might become very active very soon. Okay. And then I realized I played knight h2, I realized my mistake. And my opponent here, that's why it was such a big blunder, because he could have defended the pawn. Because rook b6 works now, and he will be able to defend with the knight and the rook. Whereas if I just play rook b7 first, there's no rook b6, and the knight blocks the rook from coming in, and then the knight a4 wins the pawn. But the bot didn't play that, and now it's kind of simple. He goes g4, and here you can immediately go for the pawn, but there's always to calculate. Obviously, this I thought I'm still winning if I go knight a4 immediately, because this is not a threat. I just go king e1, and there's nothing. And once I win this pawn, it should be over. But to be more accurate, I just played the best computer line actually, just knight h4, which forces all the trades. And once these two pieces are going to be off the board, it's automatically a win for me. And now the trade is forced because knight can't go anywhere. Well, I thought if the bishop is here, it's forced, but why is this forced? It's not forced actually. It's forced because the bishop hangs, of course. The bishop hangs, and if the knight doesn't move, we just take. So there's a big exchange, takes, and king goes somewhere. But now the material is still equal, but the position is completely over now because I'm just going to win this pawn, and from here it's kind of simple. And here a nice touch. Instead of just queening, I just go king g3, just to be a bit more precise, because king g4, if I allow king g4, then rook a8 might give me some problems. But to be extra precise, I just go king g3, not giving any chances. It's just very simple, like this. I win everything. I defend everything. And I checkmate. And I think it was a very nice game. And yeah, I was kind of accurate. So I can check now the game review. But that was a big mistake when I didn't utilize that pawn because he could have defended afterwards. Luckily, he didn't. I was so angry actually because I calculated so well, and then I just had this mind
Good
swap
job building a
that the
lead and not
bishop
letting up.
c6 there, or whatever it is possible. 93.6. It's very nice. It's very nice. And yeah, should I go over the lines with the computer? Nah. I think just the analysis I did already is fine. That's what I had in mind when I was playing. Bye.